This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening, everyone. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on December 11th, 2020, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, the Upper Township website, and the Town Hall foyer. Mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, and the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being audio recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise. Barbara's got the flag, and we'll do the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
the Republic,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God,
one nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Ms. Hayes?
Here.
And Mayor Palumbo.
Here.
All members are present.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from December 7th, both the regular and closed session portions of the meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Okay, hearing none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with all in favor.
Okay. Let's go around the table. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, committee members. I want to start out with some news regarding Cape May County Department of Health and COVID-19 report. The state of New Jersey has announced that the first COVID-19 vaccines will be distributed tomorrow in New Jersey. Cape May County is not included in this initial shipment, but the first doses for the county are expected later this month, as the state will be getting shipments every week of the new vaccine. The priority of the initial doses will be focused on healthcare workers and patients at long-term health care facilities. The goal for the state is to have 70% of the population vaccinated in the first 6 months. And a second vaccine should receive approvals from the federal government from Moderna by as early as the end of this week. With respect to the COVID-19 cases in Cape May County, as of today's date, we've had 3,526 positive since the beginning of the pandemic, and 119 deaths in Cape May County. We've had a total of 424 cases in Upper Township with 6 fatalities. Moving on to Public Works. I just wanted to make an announcement, since this is the last meeting of 2020, that we will, with respect to collection, on specifically Thursday, the 24th of December, those having trash and recycling collection on that day the collection will take place on Friday. And if you have collection on Friday, which is your normal collection time, that will be collected on Monday. Very similar to what we experienced right before Thanksgiving. And again, since this is our last meeting of 2020, all I have left is to wish everyone happy holidays and a safe and healthy New Year.
So I guess what I need to talk to you about, Scott, is, and I did talk to Ed about this, with the governor, with the president declaring a federal holiday for December 24th. Do we have a plan in place for, trash pickup for the Christmas holidays?
Yes, yeah, just basically what was noted. Thursday's pickup will be on Friday, and Friday's pickup will be on Monday for trash and recycling.
Friday is Christmas Day, isn't it?
Yeah, how can you do it on Friday?
We're going to do Thursday on Thursday, and then Fridays on Monday.
So it's Thursdays will be on Saturday. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're going to do Thursday's collection on Thursday.
On Thursday.
And then
Fridays on Monday.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So, okay. All right, that works. We're going to need to get that on the website so folks know. Obviously, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of trash and a lot of things that from meals and packages and everything. So we'll just make sure that's on there for them. Okay. And we're ready if some storm, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen in our area, more rain, but in the event of flooding or something, we're ready for that too, right? For Wednesday to Thursday?
Correct. Yes, everybody, all the departments have been notified, and we are all ready, and we're still watching just in case this nor'easter decides to change that rain snow line, which sometimes happens. Hopefully it won't, and it will be a rain event for us. But we will definitely let you know. We should know more information tomorrow how this storm sets up.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Barbara Young.
I just have one little reminder, besides the fact that offices will be closed on these holidays that were just noted, the 24th and 25th, obviously. Our reorganization meeting will be January 8th at 6:30 p.m. That will be a virtual meeting, and I hope everyone can join us for that. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Daniel, do you have anything for us?
Nothing at this time, but Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay. Paul Dietrich.
Just would update everyone on the paving project. We're about halfway done the paving project right now. So they're still making progress. As long as we continue to have some good temperatures, we'll get as much done before the end of the year as we can. And just to note, they are running a little bit behind on driveways. So all the streets that have been paved now, there's several streets that haven't had their driveways replaced. So they'll just to let residents know that the contractor will be back there. They're trying to get a crew out at the beginning of next week to try to knock most of them out. And other than that, that's all I had.
Okay. Thank you. Barbara Ludi.
Good evening, everyone. I have nothing other than to wish everyone Merry Christmas and happy and healthy New Year.
Great. Committeeman Coggins.
No, nothing more than a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and a Happy New Year.
Okay. Let's see. Committee Woman Hayes.
No, nothing to report. Just like to wish everybody a happy holidays, and I hope everyone stays safe and well and enjoys some time with their families.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Barr.
How's our leaf collection coming along, Scott?
Craig, I'll pass that along to you for any updates.
Yeah, we are still working on our first round. We are completed the southern and most of the northern part of the township. We are now starting to concentrate on the center part of the township. We've had 3 crews working with leaf machines. We added a 4th crew using the loader this week, and we'll be adding a crew starting tomorrow. Anticipating that try to get at least the first round cleaned up before the holiday. Nobody wants to have these in front of their house, and we are pushing with everything that we can to pick up leave, try to make that happen.
Okay. Looks like you guys are moving along good. And the only other thing I have to add is hope everybody has a safe holiday season and a happy new year. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Committeeman Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I would like to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season, and be careful and be cognizant of our frontline workers there, and make sure you take time to wish them a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Okay. And I echo my colleagues in wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I would like to acknowledge this year's winner of the Rotary Ocean City Upper Township Club for Citizen of the Year. As many of you know, we usually do this during our tree lighting ceremony, and because we went virtual, we didn't really have too much background on who was being chosen. But Bill Eisel, who has really done a lot of things for the township over the years, donated many of our Christmas trees that we've lit. But I also want to at least point out a few of the number of things that he does in the township. Besides being a very active member of the Aaron Wigkamp Colwell American Legion post, of which he was the coordinator of the 100th birthday back in the beginning of November. He also received an award from the Calumet County Commanders Award for his outstanding service for the American Legion. He's also chairman of the scholarship fund. He coordinates with the township on the Blue Star program. He's currently serves as treasurer of the Greater Tuckahoe Area Merchants Association. So the list goes on and on. He's very active in the Petersburg Wesley United Methodist Church. And I just would like to at least, give him his due for all that he has done for the township and recognize him. Barbara, I think it would be appropriate at our first meeting in January if we do a resolution congratulating Bill for being selected as the Citizen of the Year, but then also recognize all the things that he's done and is currently doing for the township. So if we can do that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
That's all I have. Thank you, Barbara. We can move on to the resolutions.
Very good. Item number 1, adopting revisions to the Upper Township Supervisors Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual and Employee Handbook.
Move the resolution. Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is
Well, we're
carried.
getting a lot of feedback, or at least I am on my end. It sounds like somebody has a TV on or something. I don't.
I hear that too.
I can hear it, but I can't pick up who's.
Yeah.
It's not picking up enough in their mic to activate the mic. I can't really tell.
Okay.
I hear it. It's not in my house.
My TV's off. Here it is, right over here. All right. Oh, maybe somebody was able to mute it or shut it down. That's good. Okay. Next one, please.
Authorizing the engineer to prepare specifications and solicit bids for park improvements at the Beasley's Point Park.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 3, we have a resolution for a tax refund for Block 650, Lot 77.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor? Item number 4, under ordinances, we have the public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 12, 2020, and ordinance establishing salaries for the Township of Upper for the calendar year 2021. This is a public hearing.
Okay, unless there's any comments or discussion from the Township Committee, I'll open it up to the public and ask that anyone like to address the Township Committee for Ordinance 12, 2020. Now's the time to do so. Please unmute your line, state your name and your address, and if you have whatever comment you have pertaining to the ordinance. And I'm just going to
Right.
double check with everyone that may want to comment and that are not able to unmute. We're just trying to make sure we provide enough time in the public hearing part of this ordinance, proposed ordinance.
Mayor, everybody has been unmuted, so anybody, they do have the opportunity to unmute themselves.
Dan, let me know when you are comfortable that
Paul's
you're
confirmed that Paul's just confirmed that everybody who is unmuted and no one has requested to speak. I would like to add that caller 4 seems to be the one with the news background, TV in the background.
I've been muting him as we opened it up. I give him a few seconds to talk, and then I close that line back out.
But he's been unmuted during this public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Rich, you're okay to go.
Okay, so seeing that there is no public comment during this hearing, I'm going to close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 12-2020.
Second.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson, Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
and Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor? Item number 5, under new business. Scott Giorgetti requests to purchase township-owned property, Block 625, lots 3 and 4.
Dan, you want to give us an overview of this?
This is actually 2 requests. It's 5 and 6. You should handle them both together. I'll let Paul talk about the specifics. However, in general, the request is to buy the land next to Mr. Giorgetti's property. He's already purchased some land from us in years past, as we ordinarily do when someone buys a township lot adjacent to their property. It was deed restricted against further subdivision, primarily because the concern of the township is the construction of another residential dwelling that would be a negative impact on our taxes, and because of the school tax situation. So the township has, in my tenure, never sold land for development for residential purposes. They do have isolated small lots, as we all know, that are deemed not needed for the township, that are sold to adjacent property owners with the proviso that they will not be a building lot for residential purposes. Mr. Giorgetti did this previously, as I said, and he does have a deed restriction on his lot. He wants to purchase these other properties and vacate a portion of an adjacent street and create 2 lots to build a new home on one of those lots. His existing home would stay on the current lot. He understands apparently the nature of the township's concerns, and while he provided I guess it's a proposed agreement because it's unsigned, where he's going to buy property at another area of the township, I believe it was Schoolhouse Lane, and then he would buy, I think if I understand it correctly, 2 lots and deed restrict them, combine them and deed restrict them so that only one house will be built. Again, the township has never done this before, and you have 2 requests: the street vacation and the purchase of the land. The land would have to be purchased first and then the street vacated. I believe, Paul, that's the procedure we've used in the past if you do agree to proceed.
Yes.
So, Paul, do you have anything to add specifically on this or no?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. And obviously, Schoolhouse Lane is in the Tuckahoe section just off of Route 50 behind Sturdy Savings Bank. And the lot that he's looking at is a conforming 40,000 square foot lot.
So the proposal is to buy 2 lots, 2 40,000 square foot lots?
He's proposing to buy the lots from the township are 225 by 100, so it's a 50 by 100 foot lot, and then he wants to deed restrict a 40,000 square foot lot on Schoolhouse Lane to prevent that from being built upon, and to allow him to build on this portion of his lots that's currently deed restricted.
If you go forward, Mr. Giorgetti has indicated in his correspondence that it's for an elderly family member to keep them close to his main property. However, when I spoke to him and asked him the size of the building, he told me it was about, if I understand it correctly, 2,700 square feet, which obviously is not a small building that would go up. But again, we've never done anything like this in terms of selling property for residential development.
Let me ask you this, Dan, if we were to grant this request, what kind of a precedent would this then set for us?
The only precedent it would specifically set is that you could have other developers coming in trying to swap land, more desirable areas for less desirable areas, and basically say, I want to buy the township's land in a more desirable area and I'll deed restrict the less desirable. There is an argument to be made that the less desirable is less likely to be developed, even if it's in private ownership, than the more desirable areas, because I suspect that the lot that will be created by the sale of the township land is going to be more valuable than the lot on Schoolhouse Lane. Whether that means it's going to be developed quicker or not, I don't know. But to be honest with you, it's been a bright line for 20 years, 17 years at least, maybe, that the township doesn't sell land for residential development.
At least for the tenure I've been on township committee, that's what we've always done. It's always been deed restricted. I don't know about my colleagues, they have more experience than I have, but the worrisome part to me is it's setting a precedent.
Yeah, and one other footnote, as you know, when we vacate a street, we ask surrounding property owners whether they have any issue with it. Paul would have to do an analysis as to circulation as well.
There is no circulation on this one. There is no circulation because it's really that we had already vacated the other portion of Atlantic Avenue at the request of Mr. Giorgetti. So it's only the last 100 feet that would need to be vacated. So it wouldn't have no need for public. And the adjacent property owner is the contiguous property owner that received the other part of Atlantic Avenue beforehand.
The likelihood is that there wouldn't be an objection from the neighbors, obviously. And I believe Mr. Giorgetti told me that when I spoke to him a month or so ago.
Anybody else have any questions?
Has anybody done a cost analysis of the value of one versus the other?
No.
Well, I mean, what we would be getting rid of would be a 50 by 100 area, two undersized lots that on an unapproved street, and Mr. Giorgetti would be vacating or deed restricting a 40,000 square foot lot on Schoolhouse Lane that's a buildable lot in Tuckahoe.
That's not necessarily the request, though. The request is to create a buildable lot with his additional land next to his house and to deed restrict what he has indicated would be a buildable lot on Schoolhouse Lane. He's already deed restricted for the balance of his property against further subdivision and development. Yes, essentially is asking us to lift that deed restriction so he can create a buildable lot next to his house and deed restrict one out in Tuckahoe.
Would there be a buildable lot available in the Palermo section that we can deed restrict? So we're kind of talking apples and apples versus apples and pineapples.
I have no idea. I don't know. You'd have to, Mr. George, if that's, again, that would still be a situation that we have not entertained previously. And you have to, the only thing I caution you is that you will then have people come in and ask to buy township lands for development. It could happen, and you can't, you can arbitrarily say no. If you said yes before, it does set somewhat of a precedent. You don't have to sell township land.
That's where I was headed with the value of this. What is the value of the lot in Tuckahoe versus a lot in Palermo?
I'm not an appraiser. You'd have to get an appraisal to do that. Look at that values. I suspect it's significantly less in Tuckahoe.
So in order to do this proposed project, what is deed restricted? Some of the land now would have to be non-deed restricted?
You'd have to grant him a revocation of that deed restriction for the new lot that he creates. And then you'd have to make sure, it'd be a fairly complicated process. You'd have to make sure that there's a deed restriction on a consolidated lot on Schoolhouse Lane. My understanding, he was going to purchase two lots. He's not just buying a 40,000 square foot. Now, I'm not sure because the agreement of sale indicates one lot. I believe we got septic designs separately. It wasn't included in the package tonight, but I believe there were septic designs for two lots, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Paul?
I didn't see that.
It's not in tonight's package, but it was in prior correspondence, I believe.
Am I allowed to speak during this part?
It's up to the town committee.
We don't normally allow anyone to speak during this thing up until we get to the public portion, but since we're having the discussion and probably will come to a decision before we get to the public portion, I'll allow it, but you're going to have to state your name and your address so that we have it on the record, Scott.
Okay. Scott Giorgetti from 828 Stagecoach Road. So it's one lot that we were looking to purchase. We're looking just to, first off, there's no devious anything going on here. This is just, I'm not looking to take a cheaper lot somewhere else and get a more expensive lot. I'm looking to move my parents into my backyard basically. And this is the only way that I can do it that has a end result that at least there's something that's sellable at some point. If I try to attach it to my house, then I got to find somebody that wants to buy a big house with another house. So I'm trying to do this smart way. I'm not opposed to this was just the first lot that I came up with. I'm not opposed to waiting and finding a lot that's in Palermo that's of equal value. This is not about me trying to get a more expensive lot for a cheaper. I'm not trying to work the system. I just want to be able to move my aging parents here. And then when they go on, maybe it'll go to one of my children or something. It's not like I'm looking to profit off of this. I'm just trying to find out a way to make this happen. And that's what what I had originally thought would happen at the first meeting is I would just kind of state my case, and y'all would kind of point me in a direction and say, no, we won't do this, or yes, we will do this, or you got to do something better or something different. Just give me some guidance of which direction to go. I mean, I'm happy to go this way, but it just happened to be a lot that I found that somebody would take the one lot and they'll connect it to another lot. So they're taking a lot off the market, and the lot would then have the same deed restriction that I have on mine would be carried to theirs. And that those people are willing to accept that. So that's what I was kind of looking for, one where I can get the neighbor to take the lot, because if I just go and buy a lot and say, okay, I'm going to put the restriction on this one, if I can't get rid of that lot, now I'm going to be taxed with that lot for, indefinitely. So that kind of wasn't my goal, to have collateral lot that I'm paying taxes on just to make this one undone. So it's just trying to find the right package that works.
Now, this home you're building, or you're proposed to build for your parents, it's like 4 bedrooms, right?
Don't get hung up on that. That was a hypothetical situation I was speaking to with Dan. I mean, if we could put stipulations on it, I don't know. You want me to build a 2,400 square foot house? I don't know that we're not real good at building anything smaller than that. I've never done a smaller house. We don't, everything we do is a little bit bigger. So 2,400 square feet would probably be the minimum that I would feel comfortable doing it. My parents are currently in a 3,400 square feet. So I don't know that they would be, it's already a transition for them. I'm not looking to shock them, but it's not out of the question. If you said it had to be a smaller house, we would be willing to explore that.
There's no way you could attach it to your existing structure, Scott? Like a small in-laws quarters?
Well, I mean, I already have a large home. So putting another, first off, I don't pass this on, but I can't live in the same house with my parents. It's just, It would divorce.
I just so happen to have an in-laws quarters on my house, and I'm not that lucky. So it's.
So I don't want to attach it to it. I have a nice house, and I'm not, I'm trying to figure out a way to bring my parents, and I'm a family guy. So I like having my kids around. I like having my family very close in Upper Township. We just finished a house on Catherine. They just got a CO today for my son. At some point we're going to be building one for my daughter somewhere in town. I mean, we like it here, and we want to be members of the community, and we like the area. No doubt about it. Very pleased being here. So I want my parents to stay close, and so this probably was going to go from my parents, and then when they pass on, I'll probably move one of my kids into it. So it being totally transparent, I wouldn't want to put something too small either, but if you give me some guidance and say, no, this doesn't work, I'm open. I want to try to figure this out some way.
I think what concerns me most is to undeed restrict the piece of property that has already been purchased that has a deed restriction. And, Ed had mentioned, what kind of precedent could that set? I mean, we have a number of those throughout the township where they build in-law quarters, or they deed restrict the land just to be attached to the existing property just because they want more space or more boundaries to their properties. But I have some concerns about that part of it.
The only other thing I could think of, Scott, is like some of the structures that you've already built before, where you have a breezeway. You have somewhat of a connection to the house, and you get the other piece of, you get the street end where you have the deed restriction, but still that structure has to go along with your property, because other than that, we'll be setting a precedent where we'll have other developers or other contractors, other private citizens who we've already sold properties to and deed restricted. They're going to come in and make the same request. You got to understand, if you understand where we're coming from.
Just to clarify, before you respond, Scott, just to clarify, if you build an addition, which is what Ed is referring to your existing house, it has to conform to zoning or get a zoning variance. If it becomes a entirely separate unit for a separate housekeeping entity with kitchen, full everything, that still requires, that could allegedly violate the deed restriction and may require a zoning board approval. If it's not a full dwelling unit, that may comply with both the deed restriction and zoning. That would have to be reviewed by zoning what your proposal is.
What if we, how would it hurt the township if you said, like, I like what you said before about something maybe being of equal value. So if I had a real estate appraiser say what this value would be, let's just say hypothetically, the lot behind me will be worth $120,000, right? So if I was able to get another piece of property that had the same value and also could be appraised at an equal value, would there be, what would be the downside to the township made that part of the ordinance that it has to be a, of equal value? So what? So if people want to come to the board and move something around, as long as they're keeping it within that thing, why would it matter to anybody other than it's a new ordinance?
Comments?
That would make it easier, I think.
Yeah, I think that would kind of warrant us taking a look at it. I'm looking at this whole thing, and I think it does leave a lot of open-ended questions that I'm not 100% certain that we can answer this evening.
And like Ed, I understand what you're saying about a mother-in-law's a suite, but I can tell you, Ed, sometimes, and I'm not saying it happens, but I see it in the township where next thing you know, the mother-in-law or the in-laws pass, and then somebody uses it as a rental apartment, totally against what it was built for. And that's happened in the township, and we know it's happened.
That's
I'm
correct.
sure everybody here is aware of one.
All right, so it doesn't sound like we're going to get to any conclusion tonight. But I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I would be willing to at least table this discussion and let Mr. Giorgetti try and come up with a plan that might meet some of your concerns. I mean, I think equal value, taking one lot off for potential building, although I still think we're setting a little bit of a precedent that we may not, we don't know what the future will bring. If you're not ready to make any concise decision tonight, we can at least, delay this and put it for a future discussion, like in the first meeting of January or whatever. And maybe there's some sort of alternative that can be worked out prior to that, that would either make people, my colleagues on the committee feel better, or, then the decision might go the other way as well. So.
So here's what I think I'd like to do if it's agreeable. I will let this lot go. I'll let them do whatever they're going to do, and, they put it up for sale, whatever these people are planning, and I'll let that go. That's why I didn't sign the agreement yet, because I didn't want to sign it. They were waiting to find out. I said, I'm not signing it unless I can get this to work. So what I'm going to do, if it's agreeable, is I'm going to let this one go, and I'm going to come back and try to find a comparable lot in Palermo section that's got the same value, so that nobody's looking at this and going, well, hey, you're getting this here and you're giving up this here. That's not what my goal is. So I mean, that would work better for me, sure, financially, but I still, it's not as much about the money as it is about getting my mom and dad closer, and maybe behind them. Us would be a good thing. So would that be agreeable then, if I come back with that kind of a package and we talk about it again?
I would caution that, just to make sure it's clear, that it's agreeable to table it and have him come back with new information, but until the township committee sees that new information, they can't commit to a decision one way or another. As long as that's understood, I think that's the right path to take. And Scott, I think I understand you, that's what you're essentially proposing, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And if somebody in the board comes up with something in the next month or so that says, hey, Scott, no matter what you do, this isn't going to work or something, please pass that on to me so I'm not out there spinning my wheels and whatnot. I mean, I really want this to work. So I'm going to try to push as hard as I can to get this, keeping this moving forward. And I'm going to try to find it, although most stuff has been bought up at this point, but I'm going to be looking. So if something changes on your end that totally prohibits this, please let me know. Not that I expect you all to sit here and think about this 24/7, but you know what I'm saying.
Based on that, I suggested the township committee table it with the understanding that new and additional information would come back and you'll make a decision at that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we table the discussion until there's additional information available.
Second.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried to
All
table
right.
both
Thanks,
item
Scott,
number
for your
5
input.
and 6.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
Paul, are you going to talk about the next discussion item, our Cape May County All Hazards Mitigation
Yeah.
Plan?
Yeah, this is an update we do every about 5 years for the All Hazards Mitigation Plan. It also serves as our flood mitigation plan. Kind of puts together, the different hazards that we would potentially experience in the township, ranks them based on, how severe that they could impact the township, and then looking at future projects to help mitigate those hazards. So this is kind of the culmination. This is because it's part of the Cape May County All Hazard Plan. What happens is the county gets a grant from the state to help prepare the plans for the different counties, and then the county hires a consultant. They've hired Tetra Tech to work with the county and the municipalities to work on each appendix. So the main body of the plan will talk about the county and describe a lot of these hazards in much more detail. And then each municipality in the county will have an appendix that deals specifically with how we feel the hazards are affecting the township, as well as what plans to mitigate those hazards. So this is kind of the culmination of that you see there. You will also see, and if you remember, each year that we update our CRS program, you get an annual update. So that's part of what that report does, is goes through our annex and makes any updates to it. So you see this every year as we go through the annual update process, usually in September. And then so that this report also looks at what we did last time, refreshes it again, whether or not we want to keep some of the activities, and then proposes new activities towards the end of the report. So, depending if you have any specific questions, or if you wanted to, however deep you want to get into this, be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody got any questions?
No.
So do you need a motion for us to accept this?
Yeah, the process from here is, obviously this is the draft annex. So what happens is, at this point, it gets sent back to the county. They'll collect all of the municipalities, they'll finish the county end, and then it's sent up to FEMA and the New Jersey State OEM. They review it, and then they send it, if there's any comments, they'll send it back. But once FEMA has actually reviewed it, then it will come back to Township Committee for formal adoption. But I think it would be appropriate to have just a a motion. We don't need a resolution at this point, but at least a motion to accept this draft annex for the all county hazard mitigation plan.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
One thing you might want to check in the draft, and I'm not sure if I read it correctly, but when it was talking about census data, and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, I'm doing this from memory, but it showed the 2010 census, there were 12,000 and some people living here, and then there was a 4.5% increase by 2018, and then it showed 11,000 some people. So that would be a decrease. Either that's a decrease or the numbers are reversed.
I'll check that. Those numbers are reversed because I know that our population, we were actually one of the few when they did the 2018 update numbers. I remember our municipality was one of the few that actually increased. That was a good catch. I missed that. But the 12,373, I think, is our current 2018 number.
So, right, so then I think they're reversed then.
Yes, you are. I'm looking at it right now. You are correct.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All right, Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is
There
carried.
are 3 reports from our municipal departments: Animal Control, Municipal Court, and Public Works. Those 3 reports will be available upon request of the Township Clerk's Office, but I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
and Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Is carried.
Mayor, before we carry on, if I could just interject one other comment, if you don't mind. Just for the public's information, a copy of our appendix for the all hazard mitigation plan is on the township website for review. And if anybody has any comments, feel free to reach out to myself or Scott Morgan if anybody has any comments. So that is up on. We actually have a page dedicated to the hazard mitigation plan. So it's out there. It also has a link to our the previous plan from 2016. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Right, so at this time, we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please unmute your line and state your name and your address for the record. And then obviously whatever you'd like to talk to the Township Committee about at that point. So who would like to go first?
Everybody has been unmuted also.
Okay. So everyone has the ability to unmute. No one has at this point.
If I understand it correctly, Mayor, Paul can see the entire slate and can see that everyone is unmuted. So therefore, if they're not speaking, you can assume that they don't wish to speak.
That is correct. Everybody has an opportunity to unmute their own mics.
All right, then. Are you comfortable that we've afforded enough time?
Yes.
Okay. So it appears that there's no public comment this evening. And I do thank all of you for joining us during this last meeting of the year in December. So we are going to go into executive session. This line will remain open in the event that some sort of business takes place at or needs to take place in open session based on what was discussed in closed session. But other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Committeeman Coggins for a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are contract negotiation for the Employee Assistance Program, for special legal counsel, and for the collective bargaining agreement. There are two personnel matters. One is a personnel matter. The other is personnel for annual appointments. And there is potential litigation for court claims. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
To call the roll.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Okay. We'll be back.
Kim, you're very fast.
She's
Not
muted.
fast enough to unmute, though.
We can see if Ralph wants our public.
I don't think so.
Okay. We all here?
It looks like we're
Yes.
missing Ed.
Not yet. Let's see it.
Ed got lost in space. Well, we don't need him to adjourn.
Let's wait a minute or two.
If it comes on there.
Unless you want to tell him you abandoned him, Curtis.
You're not here to help him. Look, since we're only going to have 8 people inside at our next meeting, at reorganization, I want Kim, her husband, Sean. He's never been to a meeting and seen her up on the dais.
I don't know, he's a picture taker.
What's that?
He likes to take pictures. That's it.
I'm bringing one person with me to hold the Bible. So.
Want me to text them?
I just did.
Okay.
So
Maybe he can just call in if he can't get on the computer. Good.
How to do that? Surprised there was no public comment tonight.
Yeah, nobody.
Everybody's out
Yeah,
shopping.
very unusual.
Yeah. We're storing it up for the reorg. Hey,
Oh,
there he is.
there you go.
Hey, Ed.
Hey,
There he
Ed,
is.
there you are.
Who's giving me a hard time?
You probably had to make a drink, right?
Curtis wanted to abandon you.
What?
I said Curtis wanted to abandon you.
The new guy in charge of the green team?
All right. It's being recorded.
We are being
Let's,
recorded.
We are being recorded. I have to remind you.
Would someone
So
like to make a motion to go into open session?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn from closed session and resume the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is
Have
carried.
a spectacular week, everyone. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we'll
You too,
talk
Mr.
to you
Mayor.
before
Bye, everybody.
Christmas and the
Mayor.
holidays.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year.
Yes.
Merry
Thank you, you
Christmas,
too.
All
Happy
right.
holidays.
Take care, everybody.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Aye.